The first reading is from Isaiah chapter 53, verses 4 to 12. Surely he was born of our infirmities and carried our diseases, yet we accounted him stricken, struck down by God and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the punishment that made us whole, and by his bruises we are healed. All we, like sheep, have gone astray. We have all turned to our own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed, and he was afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth, like a lamb that is led to the slaughter, and like a sheep that before its shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth. By perversion of justice he was taken away. Who could have imagined his future? For he was cut off from the land of the living, stricken for the transgression of my people. They made his grave with the wicked and his tomb with the rich, although he had done no violence, and there was no deceit in his mouth. Yet it was the will of the Lord to crush him with pain. When you make his life an offering for sin, he shall see his offspring and shall prolong his days. Through him the will of the Lord shall prosper. Out of his anguish shall see light. He shall find satisfaction through his knowledge. The righteous one, my servant, shall make many righteous, and he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore I will allot him with a great portion, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he poured out himself to death, and was numbered with the transgressors. Yet he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. When's the last time any of us really sacrificed? And I mean really sacrificed, where you felt the pain. This whole first reading is about sacrifice. I mean, it's about Jesus giving up himself for the benefit of all of us. The next reading touches about sacrifice too. And it's kind of interesting because it's on James and John addressing Jesus. And I want you to imagine them as a couple of self-entitled teenagers. That they approach Jesus and they say this. One of them says, hey, me and my brother John were thinking, and we were supposed you would give us anything that we wanted when we ask you this next question. And then Jesus just patiently asks, okay, so what is it you two want? And he goes, we want the best seat at the table, the best two seats. And I just imagine Jesus putting his hand to his forehead and just trying to think, how can I patiently tell these guys? And he lets them know, look, it's not even mine to give. But even if it was, you guys have no idea what you're asking, because this involves such incredible sacrifice to get those two seats. And you really have to ask yourself, are you up to it? I've been working on my family table, my family history, the ancestry history. I've been learning a lot of stuff. And one of the temptations you have to avoid, I think, when working on a family history of people long ago gone, is trying to invoke your value judgments on them. You start asking yourself, wow, why did they do that? And what were they thinking? And et cetera, as though I'm so much smarter. And then the more you get into this, the more you realize, wait a second. They went through a lot of stuff I've never had to go through. And me and my brother, one of my brothers were talking about this, and we were finally reached a point where we realized, wait a second, there's stuff we couldn't comprehend. I mean, for an example, can you imagine just coming into this country for the first time off a boat and not speaking a word of English, but knowing you need to find a job, you need to make your way, you need to send money back home, and all of this. Talk about the pressure. I've never had pressure like that. a bunch of other things that came to mind. And we finally recognized, we just need to cut them a break and recognize them for the sacrifices that they made that benefited us. And I realized that I'm not the ancestors of angels, but I am the ancestors of people who endured, persevered, and sacrificed. Please rise if you are able. The reading is from Mark. The gospel reading is from Mark, chapter 10. Verses 35 to 45 to 44. James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came forward to him and said to him, "Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you." And he said to them, "What is it that you want me to do for you?" And they said to him, "Grant us to sit, one at your right hand and one at your left in your glory." But Jesus said to them, "You do not know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink, or be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with?" They replied, "We are able." Then Jesus said to them, "The cup that I drink you will drink, and with the baptism with which I am baptized you will be baptized. But to sit at my right hand or at my left is not mine to grant, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared." When the 10 heard this, they began to be angry with James and John. Jesus called them and said to them, "You know that among the Gentiles, those whom they recognize as their rulers lord it over them, and their great ones are tyrants over them. But it is not so among you. But whoever wishes to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wishes to be the first among you must be slave of all." This is the word of the Lord.